What's going on, guys? I'm Jay the Black. Shout out to everyone tuning in. I'm going to talk about Derek Fisher. Derek Fisher just got fired, or if you hear it from his side, it was mutually agreed upon, from his position as head coach and general manager of the Los Angeles Sparks, a WNBA team. Now, he's getting mocked on social media due to his off-the-court antics. Not only is he a terrible coach on the field, on the court, but he has made terrible decisions off it. Now, he's settled into life as a family man recently, but it doesn't change his past, and his past is why his career is where he is. There's a reason why Derek Fisher is not a head coach in the NBA, and it's due to the fact that this guy cannot keep from sleeping with teammates, girlfriends, or wives, or his players, because there were reportedly a situation where he decided that it would be a good idea to have relations with players who he is coaching, significant other. This is, I believe, one of the main reasons why he can't get a job in the NBA. He's not trustworthy. So that's why he had to go coach the females basketball teams, because he wouldn't be around any athletes' wives or girlfriends. And this is according to Sporting News, but it was also here on NBC. These were articles that were written in 2016. He got fired. He was a head coach of New York Knicks. He got fired. Tim Hardaway Jr., who was one of the players who apparently Derek Fisher was messing around with his girlfriend, allegedly, and they ended up trading him from New York, which means he probably had other issues as well. Now, I'm going to get into Derek Fisher getting fired, and we're going to get into why he's being mocked on social media. You're seeing a lot of people bringing up Matt Barnes' name, so let's get into this from Larry Brown Sports. It says Derek Fisher won 5 NBA titles as a player, but his career as a coach continues to be markedly less successful. Los Angeles Sparks announced on Tuesday that they have parted ways with Fisher, who had been serving as their head coach and general manager. Assistant coach Fred Williams will take over as Sparks interim coach for the rest of the WNBA season. This is Fisher's 4th season as coach of the Sparks after being hired in 2018. He also took on GM responsibilities for them in 2020. Under Fisher's leadership, the Sparks went 54-46 and made the playoffs just twice. So he wasn't a very good head coach. He wasn't a good head coach in the NBA, and he hasn't been a good head coach in women's basketball as well. The Sparks entered the 2022 season with higher expectations after signing 4-time All-Star center Liz Cambage to a star-studded roster that already featured the likes of the Ogwumike sisters, Chiney and Nika, and Christy Tolliver, but the Sparks have opened the year with just a 5-7 record, which is not good, which is currently 4th in the Western Conference. It seems like they couldn't wait to fire him. They've probably been looking to fire him for some time now. They gave this guy a head coach and GM responsibilities when he can barely be a head coach. He can barely get the head coaching part right. As for Fisher, he had begun his coaching career in the NBA with the New York Knicks, but lasted less than 2 seasons before being fired from the job as well. During Fisher's WNBA coaching career, he was the subject of jokes at times. I wonder what jokes those were. Was it the dirty macking jokes? Was it the jokes about him, being around athletes' wives and girlfriends? That's why. Listen, as far as Derek Fisher as a coach is concerned, Derek Fisher is not a head coach. Now, maybe he can be an assistant coach, but there is no way he's gonna be allowed back in the NBA. I could be wrong. He could end up getting a job in the NBA. I just don't see it. There was a reason why he went to the WNBA. Now, it's maybe because, he had roots in Los Angeles with the Lakers, and that's how he was able to get the job with the Sparks. But to me, I think he was banished to the WNBA. And the fact that he failed so miserably, he's never going to have the type of, especially in the NBA. Now, maybe he can go coach high school, maybe even be an assistant in college, maybe. But this guy is not very trustworthy. I don't think he's very likable with a lot of these athletes. I think this guy has burnt a ton of bridges. And the fact that he is a subject of jokes just shows you how they just don't respect him. They don't respect Derek Fisher. Derek Fisher is not somebody that is getting respect due to what I'm going to talk about here. Now, let's get into this and why he's getting roasted on social media right now. This is according to the Sport News. Now, this article came out in 2016. So somebody's going to point that out. Yes, it was 2016, but it's very relevant to what's going on. We know about the Matt Barnes situation. This guy ended up marrying Matt Barnes' ex, who he was sneaking around with. Let's be real, sneaking around with her. Right? It says former Knicks coach Derek Fisher may have had a lot of drama going on during his time with the team that didn't involve basketball. Rumors are starting to develop that he had relationships with the girlfriends of players who were still on his team. As the Big Lead noted, the ESPN reporter Brian Windhorst brought the rumors up on Wednesday's edition of True Hoop Podcast. Correct me if I'm wrong, Kevin, but Tim Hardaway Jr. had to go on record to discuss whether he and Derek Fisher were involved with the same woman. I'm fairly certain that he had to go on the record and said he had to deal with that, so it wasn't just Matt Barnes. Now, look at this is from Brian Windhorst, okay, who is saying that this guy can't be trusted around athletes, girlfriends, and wives. That Tim Hardaway Jr., who's a player, had to acknowledge that him and his coach might be dealing with the same female. It wasn't just Matt Barnes is a pretty revealing comment. Fisher's dating life is a topic of conversation because of his relationship with Gloria Govan, the estranged wife of Barnes, his former teammate. The relationship resulted in an altercation between Barnes and Fisher during the offseason that led to a 2-game suspension for the Grizzlies forward. As for Hardaway, it seems strange that Windhorst just casually mentioned that information in a podcast. Looking back now, there were some unsubstantiated rumors about it on questionable websites, and Hardaway even talked to reporters about it earlier this season, per the New York Daily News. He says, I've seen those, no reaction over here. I know all those are lies. They are going to do whatever they can, especially here in New York with the media, so I am not even worried about that. I had to talk with my girlfriend. If you ask me, it is not true at all. I'm completely positive with her judgment and what she said. Fisher's potential relationship with Hardaway's girlfriend is of interest because it could provide some insight as to why the coach was fired from the Knicks and why the guard was traded to the Hawks this offseason. Now that this story has received some attention, some more details might come out about what actually happened. Now, I don't know if Tim Hardaway Jr. is still with that particular female, but we have to look at it like this. Of course he's going to deny it. What man is going to admit that his girlfriend was dealing with his coach? What man is, now this is back in 2016. Now he may have changed over the years, but no man is going to admit, yeah, my girlfriend was dealing with my coach. You're just not going to see that. You're just not going to see that. And again, I don't know if Tim is still with the same particular female. Maybe Tim feels like, hey, I don't know. I don't know if it's true or not. So I'm not going to sit here and speak about things that may or may not be true. But of course his girlfriend is going to deny it. Why would his girlfriend at the time admit that she was dealing with his coach? Like, of course she's going to deny it. But also, Tim, it is interesting how you got traded right when he got fired. You didn't just stay on the team. They got rid of you too. So there was definitely stuff going on behind the scenes. And there's a reason why Derek Fisher was banished to the WNBA. And I would be very, very surprised if he ever gets a job in the NBA again because he's not trustworthy. If these were just rumors and none of this stuff was true, why hasn't he been able to get another head coaching job in the NBA? The reason why he hasn't been able to get another head coaching job, because the dude is out here trying to screw the girlfriends and wives of players he's coaching. He's taking full advantage of his position of authority and power and the connection that he's making. He's literally using those players to get close to their girlfriends and wives. That's sick. Now, there's another player too, a young player that apparently Derek Fisher might have hooked up with his girlfriend. So it's not just I'm not just singling out Tim. We know about Matt Barnes. There was another player by name, I think it's Clay Anthony, that played there as well. Derek Fisher has a reputation, and that reputation is keeping him out of the NBA. Now, I don't know where he goes from here, but there's a lot of people celebrating him getting fired, and it feel like it's karma for all the stuff that he has done and the stuff that we don't know. We don't know how many other guys whose wives and girlfriends he done got with. He just got caught. It's funny how Matt Barnes caught him with his girl. Matt Barnes would have never knew until I believe one of his sons told him. But other than that, we probably wouldn't have known. But that just shows you why he didn't last in New York and why he hasn't been able to get a job in the NBA. This guy is out here dirty macking. He's out here chasing behind. Not saying he's doing that now, but that's what he was doing. And it got so bad that it has kept him completely out of the NBA. Now, a lot of this stuff is alleged. The only thing that isn't alleged is what happened with Matt Barnes. We all know that happened. That's why him and Matt Barnes got into it. But the other stuff is alleged. I'm not saying if it's right or wrong. I'm just pointing out the information that's already out there. These articles are already out there, so I ain't made nothing up. I just want to point that out because a lot of people go to his comment section. They're roasting him. He's getting roasted. He's getting roasted. So let me know in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts. Like this video and share it. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I'll see y'all next.